The X-Men return to the school, shaken and scared. Jean Grey feels unprepared to lead the team following Cyclops' capture. Nightcrawler has been badly injured, taking one of Beast's claws to the leg, and most of all, Jean is curious about Beast, Angel, and Iceman, and why they seem to recognize them. Professor Xavier is similarly upset when he hears the news, and takes a deep breath. It's one of my biggest mistakes, and one that I feared you would learn before long. But I cannot change the past, and I am very sorry. Those three were... Dum 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 dum. Cyclops has been captured, along with a group of Morlocks, and taken to a mysterious lab. He feels groggy and comes to just as a man enters the room. Mr. Sinister, a man covered in tubes and wires with a sickly grimace on his face. He is happy to see Scott Summers, and says it's a shame they weren't able to collect Jean Grey just yet. Scott asks what he's there for. With a smirk, Sinister explains how Scott Summers and Jean Grey are the two most perfect mutant specimens he has ever come across, and that combining their genes could create a mutant messiah capable of greatness. Sinister longs for the mutants to be in control of the world, seeing his fellow humans as inferior to the obvious Homo superior. He just needs the leaders of the X-Men to bring about the end. With Scott's unlimited energy source coming from his eye, Sinister could power a machine that would sedate the population of the city they were in, Omaha, Nebraska, providing a staging ground for his conquest. Simple as. Xavier continues his confession. You five were my original X-Men. Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Warren Worthington, Robert Drake, and Hank McCoy. I thought you could be the ones to bring about mutant equality, but you were simply too young. A man named Mr. Sinister captured Jean, and stole some of her psychic power to control an army of mutant experiments, called Morlocks. It was all I could do to erase the memories of everyone involved, setting the Morlocks free and destroying the lab Mr. Sinister operated in. None of you had the memory of working together, and you, Jean, came back to live at the school. It was entirely coincidence that Scott found his way back to the school. I didn't want to put Warren, Bobby, or Hank in danger again unless they came to me. I waited until you two were older to begin the X-Men again, and I'd hoped that this mistake would stay in the past. It hasn't, and now history is repeating itself. I presume that Mr. Sinister has returned, and now my former pupils are under his sway. The confession shakes Jean's trust in the professor, but strengthens her resolve to save Scott and the Morlocks. Rogue and Darwin interrogate Gambit, who seemed to be completely unaware that his team was there to kill Morlocks. With very little coercion, Gambit shares that his team came from Nebraska, working under Mr. Sinister, and that he would gladly like a chance to beat up the man who tricked him. The Marauders have figured out that Gambit was taken, and that the X-Men will be here soon. Iceman is a bit hesitant. Mr. Sinister told them that the X-Men were a ruthless group that tossed him and the others out on the streets. But upon seeing Jean and Scott, good memories started to come back. Was Sinister lying about what happened? Angel was out for blood, and Beast seemed ambivalent. Whatever happened, Sinister gave them their new lease on life, and it was time to fight for him. With Sinister beginning to abuse Cyclops' powers for his machine, Jean and Darwin land outside the Omaha lab. A healthy Nathaniel Essex goes to greet them, not a care in the world. Ah, X-Men. I had hoped you all would come to visit my compound one day. Is it to your liking? Meanwhile, Rogue, Gambit, and X-23 find a back entrance, with Nightcrawler overseeing both teams over the comms. The three former X-Men and Psylocke explode out of the front entrance to attack the leaders, but Sabretooth holds back, smelling something fishy. He finds Rogue and Gambit and taunts the both of them for thinking their little diversion would work. He attacks, but X-23 holds him back, while Rogue runs off to find Scott and the other prisoners. Sabretooth laughs, seeing Laura.
You're the spitting image of him, too. Don't worry. Your uncle will make sure nothing happens to you.
Rogue finds the Morlocks, and using a power she picked up from Gambit, fires a kinetic energy blast that blows the cell doors open. They are initially terrified, but Rogue promises they will have a friend in the X-Men from now on. Marrow leads the charge, joining the battle upstairs. Inside the building, Jean can feel psychic energy surging throughout, and recognizes it as her own. Feeling the same power coming from the Marauders, she realizes that Sinister had stolen some of her power to control the Marauders team, just like he had for the Morlocks. She unleashes a second, massive blast to counteract the energy, and part of the building crumbles, burying the former X-Men. Jean and Darwin successfully find and free Scott. Nathaniel Essex follows them, complaining about evolution, before Darwin socks him in the jaw. Surprisingly, his body begins to decay immediately. The real Nathaniel Essex, the centuries-old Mr. Sinister, is horrified.
You've destroyed something that could bring you all the respect you deserved. How could you?
The fear you thought we deserved, you mean. We don't want any part of your evolution, Scott counters confidently. With a psychic blast, he destroys the machine, but offers Sinister a hand to escape. Sinister breaks down, heartbroken by the loss of his life's work. The building crumbles, and Sinister with it. The X-Men return to the top floor, and find Angel, Iceman, and Beast shaking their heads groggily. Psylocke and Sabretooth escaped, sensing the turn of the tide. They offer the three the opportunity to rejoin the team, but Angel rejects them immediately.
How do you know there hasn't been any more do-overs? How do you know Xavier won't get rid of you again if you don't perform to his liking?
He flies off in a rage. Beast denies, feeling his scientific work could be put to better uses. However, Iceman readily agrees, ready to find his family again. The X-Men have grown in massive ways in just several days, with Gambit and Iceman joining the school and new allies in the Morlocks. But one of the most dangerous weapons any enemy can use was shaken as well. Unconditional trust in their leader. Is Xavier truly the great man they always thought? Meanwhile, on an island miles and miles away, Nathaniel Essex wakes up. Emerging from a compound completely out of place on this island where dinosaurs roam and monsters attack, Essex is suddenly scared.
We've lost the original.
Wow, this became a long one. Because of that, the behind-the-scenes portion won't be as massive, but I would once again like to honor one more poster by Jinx, featuring the real Mr. Sinister matching against the team. And of course, massive thanks to my co-writer, Pilacar. I don't know much about the X-Men, and this story would be so much worse off if Peel hadn't been there helping. So thank you very much, man. Speaking of which, Mr. Sinister was a villain that I knew I wanted to do ever since a video from Nando V Movies, Shaw Isn't Shaw. Hearing about the uniqueness of a human geneticist obsessing over mutants so that they can be the next form of evolution was really cool, and he seemed like a great antagonist for this Nth-Verse team. As for his design, an artist by the name of Green Mamba was instrumental in inspiring the cadaver-like look of Sinister. Adding some of my own embellishments, like the mohawk and the trench coat, brought about one of my favorite character designs in a while. Definitely a terrifying figure. And, like Wonder Man from the Avengers videos, I actually looked to Andy Serkis for this part. I based his face off of Serkis, and yeah, he plays the Nth-Verse version of Mr. Sinister. It'll be a bit before the next Nth-Verse short story, being Captain America and the Thunderbolts. That is one that I'm very excited to begin writing, but I'll take my time with some other projects first. Until then, please leave your thoughts on what happens next and potential short stories you'd like to see. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And join my Discord server where you can discuss this even more. Until next time, later.
Doctor! Doctor! Are you sure you should be messing with that? Dr. Richards does not like it when his instruments are tampered with.
Do you want to bring them back, droid?
Of course, Doctor. More than anything.
Then leave me to my studies. This will be more difficult than even I anticipated.